Good evening, all. And I did come out a little bit earlier tonight, as opposed to the last few nights. So again, appreciate you for sticking around and hanging in and waiting for me to come out tonight. Tonight, I wanted to speak on the debt ceiling, but first, what I think we need to address is the violence that's going on in our nation's cities. You know, I've had to take to social media way too many times over the past, I won't say the past couple of years, and express my thoughts and prayers to the victims of shootings throughout our nation, be it in schools, just be it in cities. I mean, I've had to do it time and time again. And I thought last summer we were at a point that we were going to finally uh, make some progress on this through some gun control um, bills that were presented through Congress, and even some mental health funding bills going through. And what's going on there? What's happening? It is time that we take these things seriously, and it's time to have meaningful gun control, gun safety bills in Congress. It's time to have mental health funding bills in Congress. It's time now to stop talking about this. The time now has come for us to quit coming to this podium almost every week, if not every day, and saying my thoughts and prayers are with the victims. Every you think about how many times we've had to do that. It's got to stop. And we need to look at ourselves. What's causing us to do this? And I've last summer I talked about this in depth. I tie it to mental health funding. We've got to get people help who need it. I've said time and time again, these guns, these weapons don't shoot people. People shoot people. It's time to get these people help, and it's time to do it now. I really hope that Congress takes this seriously, and let's get some gun control bills that works for everybody through the Congress and to the president's desk. I do want to come here tonight and talk about our looming debt ceiling. You know, in the last couple of years, we've had to raise that debt ceiling a couple of times, and we're approaching that again a third time in the last couple of years. We cannot keep just pushing it to the right, pushing the debt ceiling down. It's like it's like a good example would be like maxing out your credit card every month and asking for a credit extension, using that credit up and asking for another and another and another. Sooner or later, the bill's going to come due, and we're going to have to pay that bill. We need to get our national debt under control. All through the midterms last year, I talked about there being a smaller government. I'm for it. I'm for reduced government. I'm for reduced regulation. And the way to go about reducing our national debt, first of all, is, and I know that the budget's coming out here in the coming weeks, but under my administration, one of the things I would do is revert the spending back to the 2017 levels of the federal government. And also look at each department. You know, each department, each cabinet agency should be spending money on the programs they oversee. For example, NASA should be doing aeronautics and space research. There should be a budget for that. And not only, we're spending millions of dollars on other projects attached to these agencies. It's time for that to come to a stop. We need to bring our national debt under control. And by returning our spending, the budget levels to the 2017 levels, we will start to make progress on this. We cannot continue down this path of reckless spending. It's got to stop. It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. It's another additional thing I want to work on this year with the Congress is to see that we start to make efforts to balance our national budget. It's just time to do it. And again, get the federal agencies, they need to be spending money on what they're overseeing. You know, like I said, with the example like with NASA, NASA should be overseeing aeronautics and space research. Yes, they should be doing that. Space operations, the International Space Station, aeronautics research on airplanes, airplane safety, not other studies, not studies that are not related to NASA or anything like that, or even to the agency that's involved. You need to have the spending on what you are doing as an agency. So it's my hope and it's my wish that we do start taking this debt seriously instead of kicking the can down the road every 6 months, every 8 months. I want to see our budget. I want to see a budget surplus. We haven't had that in many years. And we can do that. We can do that again if we get our spending under control. And that starts with reducing the size of our government and spending on the programs that we need to operate our government effectively. Again, thank you all very much for sticking around. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much.